So I'm Derrik Porter. I serve as the lead pastor of the Agape Impact Ministry. We're based in Harlem. God's got great, mighty things that He's doing with us and for us, and for the Harlem community through our work, through our witness. And we thank God for the privilege to serve, to go in love, and to grow in grace. So here we go. Let's talk today. I want to talk today from a subject. It's entitled "Level Up Your Influence." I've been talking about this for quite a while, but I don't think I really delved into what leveling up your influence really means. That's what we want to talk about today. I want to encourage you to level up your influence. Don't in any way minimize the importance of now, but you have to, and I have to, maximize this moment. We got to maximize this moment, and we maximize this moment by leveling up our influence. And I'd like for us to use as an anchor biblically, Jeremiah, the first chapter, verse 10. And the words read in this manner. This is God speaking to Jeremiah. He says, "See, I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pluck down, to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant." Yes, that is the word of the Lord. And blessed are those who hear, receive, and do the word. So again, level up your influence. Level up your influence. Level up. We hear this, right? So often. We hear this so often. But what does level up my influence? What does it even mean to level up your influence? What does this even mean? What does this even mean to level up your influence? Interesting, this idea of leveling up one's influence, it actually comes from, or leveling up in a sense, comes from the world of video games. It's a gamer's term, and it refers to the process of gaining enough experience, XP, to move up to the next level. And with this promotion comes new skills, new abilities, and even new power when you level up, right? And in a broader sense, to level up means to improve oneself, to advance or elevate in some way through effort and intention. And it can refer to personal growth or professional development or spiritual maturity. Leveling up, it can involve any of those things. So when we're leveling up, it's about advancing, about elevating, it's about improving yourself, and improving yourself through effort and through intention. So you can level up in cooking, right? By learning to prepare more complex dishes, right? You can level up in your career by taking on new and challenging responsibilities. You can level up in your personal relationships by listening more and telling less to the people in your spheres of influence. So leveling up embodies this idea of progress, of improvement, of advancement toward true fulfillment, and resisting the temptation to remain comfortable at the levels where we are most competent. That's important, that we don't want to get to the point where we are remaining comfortable at those levels where we are most confident and most competent. All right, we got to be careful we don't do that. And leveling up is a remedy for that. It's a remedy for us. It keeps us from staying at those places. It embodies, as we said, this idea of constant progress, right? And we cannot remain at those levels. We should not remain at those levels at which we are the most competent. And as we discuss this level, or this idea of leveling up, not only is it important for us to know what leveling up means, we also need to be mindful to check our motives for doing so. In other words, why are we leveling up in the first place? Why are we growing? Why are we advancing? Why are we getting new skills? Why are we investing intention and investing efforts and energies to get these new powers, these new skills, these new abilities? Why? Why are we listening more and telling less in our relationships? What's the point of this? Why are we progressing? Why are we doing this? we have to check our motives. And the reason why I asked this is because a few weeks ago, I talked about or brought up this question of what do you want to be? Do you want to be a legend or do you want to build a legacy? Are we leveling up? Are we leveling up to be a legend? Or are we leveling up to build a legacy? This is so important and this is so good. You got to know why you leveling up. Why are you investing energies to get better? Are you doing it merely so that you can be a legend? Or are you doing it because you are committed to building a legacy? And understand before you answer these questions, knowing what's the difference between legendary and legacy. Legends and legendary focuses on you. Legacy extends beyond you. Legendary is about you breaking records, being best in class. Legacy is about you breaking curses and allowing the next generation to go further. That was so heavy right there. That was so dense and so full of truth. I just need to let us to sit in that for a moment. Legends, right? And legends and legacy, how different they are. Legends focuses on you, your individual accomplishments, whereas legacy extends beyond you. It's not about breaking records, but legacy is about you breaking curses so that the next generation starts off better and goes further. So leveling up is good and necessary for each of us individually, but in this season, as you level up your influence, don't do it just for you. Don't level up and be good and better and great so that you become an idol. I want to encourage you today to level up your influence, get better, be great, so that you can be an example of excellence. Not an idol, be an icon, be an example of excellence. So level up, break through, reach beyond your current limitations with the mind to get better, to be better, to do better, to have better, so that you can give better. All right? So this is the motive behind why I'm leveling up. Why do I push myself to get better, to not be comfortable in my competence, but to challenge myself to new levels? Why do I want to do that? I want to do that because I want to get better, be better, do better, have better, so that I can give better. I don't want to be content with just a comfortable life. You should not. We should not want to be content with just living comfortably. I want to encourage you, Agape. I want to encourage you, internet friends, YouTube subscribers, our followers on Facebook. I want to encourage you, my man. Encourage you, my girl. I want to encourage you to level up and live a meaningful life, not just a comfortable life. Don't live comfortably. Don't be content with living comfortably. Oh my God. Don't. Level up and live meaningfully. And living meaningfully begins with acknowledging that we were created purposefully by God, and we were born to be influential in that divine intention. That God has created us with purpose, eternal, invincible purpose, and we were born into that purpose and born in that purpose to be influential. Our foreparents, Adam and Eve in the garden, they were made in God's image. They were blessed by God to be fruitful, to be reproductive, to be restorative, to rule. They were made in God's image, and they were made in God's image to manage all that God created. Yes, they were made in his image. We are made in his image, right? Born into purpose, and we're made in his image and born into purpose so that we can manage all that God has created. It's important. And this is about living meaningfully. So we cannot level up influence. And I want to be very careful leveling up that influence and understanding what that influence. You have been born and you have been placed in this world, creation, he's blessed us to influence our world. Made in his image, to manage all that he's created. And he's placed us in this creation. He's blessed us to influence our world. And influence, understand, is not synonymous with control or manipulation. You're not here to control, to be controlling, or to be manipulative in your relationships, in your authorities. No, true influence represents, it respects autonomy. It respects the agency of others. And godlike influence seeks to inspire and persuade or guide rather than to coerce and to intimidate or deceive others in a way. So we have influence and a call to use our influence to make our world better for the glory of God. We have been given this influence to the end where we are making God look good. And this brings us to Jeremiah, right? Because we want to level up our influence. We want to get to the next level. We want to get better. We want to be better to get better, right? So that we can do better, have better, so that we can give better. And we want to do that because we want to make certain that we're using the influence that God has given us, right, for his glory, that we have been made to manage all that God has created, made to manage it. He's blessed us, right, to be fruitful, to multiply, to be reproductive, to replenish, to be restorative. And not only that, but to have dominion, to rule. And he's doing that, and we have to do that in the character of God, in a way it makes him look good. So this brings us to the legacy of Jeremiah and God's specific instructions to Jeremiah in what the verse we read, chapter 1, verse 10. And this particular verse provides us with some profound insights about the importance of leveling up our influence. As you see here, this story begins with the prophet Jeremiah. If I said Isaiah, I'm sorry, Jeremiah. He says that, see, I have this day set over you. I set you rather over the nations. The devil is a liar. See, I have this day, let's get this right. I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out, to pull down, to destroy, and to throw down, to build and to plant. Get that right. So here we see, got to get that right. That's important. Got to get that right. That this day God has set him over. It lets us to know that God, that his story, Jeremiah's story, begins with a mandate from God. These powerful words that have far-reaching implications. And they speak to us of influence, of authority, and transformative action. These actions that each of us, as believers in Jesus Christ, are called to manifest in our spheres of influence as well, right? This divine appointment that Jeremiah receives here, it underscores the depth and the breadth of the influences that he is expected to exert through his lifetime, all right? Over nations and kingdoms. Come on, the scope is over nations and kingdoms. His words, as well as his actions, were not meant to be whispered in hidden corners. No, his words and his actions were to echo through the corridors of power, so that they could alter the course of civilizations. Come on. God trusted Jeremiah with this immense responsibility, much like God trusts each of us to influence our families and to influence our communities, to influence our workplaces and our world. To influence, yes, what God is calling them to do. He set him over this day. Someone say this day. He set you over this day, nations and kingdoms, to pluck down, to pull down, to throw down, to destroy, to pluck up, right? To pull up these things, all of these things in your world, your families, in your community, that this is what this authority that he's given you, this influence that you have, not to be spoken in obscurity, but that God says, I want you to, the words in your actions are not to be hidden in a cave, Elijah, but that they ought to be visible and conspicuous in the corridors of power and influence, the mountaintops. God has given you this influence. But this influence does not come easily. It does not come easily. People want influence, but it doesn't come easily where you're able to persuade others to do certain things, the capacity to persuade others to act in a way, the capacity to affect change. That's what influence is. And influence does not come easily. Not all leaders are influential. Some leaders have titles, but they lack influence. They can't get people to do anything. Sometimes the real leader is not the person at the top. All right. So influence, that's a whole nother message, right? My point is that influence doesn't come easily. And not everybody who's leading has it, but the road to influence is often paved with adversity. As I said to you guys earlier, sometimes the path of our highest potential is paved through the darkness of our rock bottom. And Jeremiah, his narrative is no exception. He was called to prophesy to a nation that frequently rejected his message. He talked to folk who often did not want to hear what he had to say. And God's directives to Jeremiah were not easy nor popular tasks. To uproot, to tear down, to destroy, to overthrow, to build, to plant. These tasks were bound to meet resistance. And so is the case with us. As we aim to level up our influence, we need to expect pushback. It could be the doubt that we have within ourselves. After I finished this book, I started doubting myself. Who's going to read this? What you did, that's you start doubting yourself, right? Doubt within yourself. The pushback may come from skepticism from people around us. People may start saying, who do you think you are? You just like us, right? Or it could be the sheer weight of the mantle, the mandate of the mission that's on our shoulders, the weight, right? The burden, right, of this call. And all of these things may be the pushback, the resistance. But the call to exert or to level up our influence is a call to step up, saints. It's a call to step out of our comfort zones, to take bold action, to stand up and firm even when the ground beneath us shakes. Yeah. Influence does not come easily. It comes through and with adversity. But despite being the bearer of uncomfortable truths, and sometimes when you level up your influence, you have to embrace the fact that you're going to have to bear some uncomfortable truths. And Jeremiah, being the bearer of uncomfortable truths, he yet remained steadfast in his mission. His obedience to God's call was unwavering. He didn't flinch too much in his prophetic mandate. He had moments of nadir. He had moments of rock bottom despair, but his resolve was unbroken. And as we get to this place right now, he leveled up in his influence at the very beginning. He could have been so good with being a priest, taking the comfortable road, the comfortable path, not the challenging one. But it's a leveling up to this point. So I pose this question to you today. How can we in our own lives rise to exert influence that echoes the dedication of Jeremiah? How can we level up our influence to impact the world around us positively? And I believe that this involves 4 key principles. Get up right out of your way. If we want to level up our influence, these are the things that we've got to do, to think about doing to make that happen. And it involves recognizing our spheres of influence. That's the first thing. Maintaining our commitment to integrity. That's the second thing. Fostering genuine relationships. That's the third thing. And fourth, and finally, embracing resilience. If you want to level up your influence, right, and fulfill this responsibility, this task, this privilege on your life, it involves you doing these 4 things, all right? The first step is to recognize your sphere of influence. Your sphere of influence, your circle of concern and care, it begins in your family, where you guide your children and your loved ones toward a path of righteousness. Your sphere of influence, it continues in your workplace, the marketplace, where your actions and your decisions impact your colleagues and the overall mission of your organization. And then your sphere of influence, it reaches into your community, where your service could make a profound difference in the lives of those around you. So the first thing, understanding if you're going to level up your influence, you got to know, first and foremost, what are your spheres of influence in your family, at work, in the marketplace, in your community, where you are. That is where you stand. You are at the core of that sphere or the center of that circle. And you have a responsibility to level up your influence there. And you're guiding people towards righteousness through your actions, your examples, not just your words, but your service, your impact, the decisions that you make. All right? So it begins recognizing your sphere of influence. Next, it's about maintaining a consistent commitment to integrity. Jeremiah's influence stemmed from his steadfast devotion to God's mandate for his life. And so, as it seems with us, and so it is with us, as we aim to increase our influence, our commitment to living righteously should remain firm. Even when the world around us is pressuring us to compromise, we have to hold fast to our faith, to our virtue, and to our values. So leveling up your influence means that you just remain being a person of integrity. That just because your conditions diminish or deteriorate does not mean or necessitate that, does not necessarily mean that your character needs to be diminished. Then leveling up our influence involves fostering genuine relationships. Jeremiah's ministry was deeply relational, right? Jeremiah conveyed God's message to people. He was preaching to people, not to the walls, not to the lights, not to stones. He was preaching to people. He was appealing to their hearts, and he was calling them towards change, relationships, people. And because he was relational, that's why sometimes they called him the weeping prophet. He's always crying, right? It's relational. And as we seek to level up our influence, let's remember to approach others, the people that we have been called to influence. Let's approach them with genuine care and concern. Let's build relationships that are grounded in empathy and love. Let's see people for people, not see people as a means to an end. See people as an end in and of themselves. That I'm not just seeing you because I want to get you to do something. I see you because you are a person of value. And again, genuine and fostering these genuine relationships. And if you're going to level up your influence, it means that you and we have to build those relationships that are grounded in empathy and love. All right? Not just loving people at a distance, just loving people. Don't put any qualifications on love. Just love them. Love the hell out of them. Love them to the next level. Love them till you get to another level, right? Till you get better. To you have better. All right? So it involves genuine relationships, fostering those genuine relationships. And fostering means that you gotta take care of it. Relationships need cultivation. They need care. It's not one and done. That's not relationship. And we got to foster those genuine relationships that are not transactional. They are incarnational. It's not about, again, seeing people as a means to an end, but seeing people as respecting people as an in and of themselves, worthy of respect, worthy of dignity, regardless of what their lifestyle looks like. I thank God for Bishop McLaughlin. He said something that's so powerful. He says that I can embrace people. I can embrace people for being people without endorsing their choices, their lifestyles. I can love people even when I don't agree with them. And that's where you really truly love. Love is validated in moments and seasons of disagreement. All right. I still care about you. You still care about me, even when you disagree with me. That's good. All right. So that's leveling up our influence, right? And finally, leveling up influence is about embracing resilience. Jeremiah's journey wasn't smooth sailing. He faced significant trials, but through it all, he remained resilient. He bounced back. He didn't give up. He tried again. And as you level up, remember that there are going to be challenges in your life, challenges as you bear this burden. But with God's grace, you will be supplied with the unction, oh my God, to push through and level up. Anybody know that? That God, amen, his grace gives you the unction, gives you the ability, the capacity to push through and to level up even when you want to give up. Right? Bounce back. So those are the four things I think are important to know in leveling up. Right? Once again, this call to level up your influence is not a call to pursue worldly power or status, to be a legend. No, it's a call to serve, to build a legacy, to effect positive change, and to shine and let God's light shine through you and the world around you. To be the salt, to be the light, it's about aligning your actions with God's will and using your influence for God's glory. So let's look at Jeremiah's example. Let's get emboldened. Let's get bold to step up and make a difference. And I hope that we remember our capacity to influence extends far beyond what we may currently see or believe. Come on, that your capacity to influence, it exceeds far beyond what you currently see or believe. This, I'm preaching to myself right now. Beyond what you see or believe, there's a capacity within you. There's a grace within you to influence beyond what you see or believe right now. And above all, I hope that we remember that in our journey to level up our influence, we are never alone. For our God who called us, who started this work in us, he's faithful. Glory be to God. He's faithful to continue. He's faithful to carry it on because he's with us, guiding us, just as he was with Jeremiah, just as he was with Jesus, just as he is with you right now. Level up that influence. And as I conclude, I want to leave you with this prayer real quick. Come on. Bow your heads, close your eyes if you would. Come on. Wherever you are, reach your hand to where, if you're listening live, reach your hand. If you're listening later, this prayer is for you right now. And I want to pray this simple prayer. I pray that God equip you with all you need to rise up to your calling. I pray that God will strengthen you to face the challenges that come your way, and that God will guide you as you level up your influence for his glory and for the benefit of those around you. In Jesus' name, amen. Come on, let's give God some praise wherever we are. This is good. Give him praise.